Good stuff. So we're on episode 25.
Yes, we are on episode 25. Let me get back to the cameras correctly. There we go. You're still coming off of your exciting thing at Rock Market. I saw the clips that you did.
Oh, I got the full video from the association, the full 17, 18 minutes, however it is long that I spoke for. And it's really good. Sometimes it's so funny because when you're talking, it's like you forget everything that you've done. Or
Yes.
you don't look at it from the outside. And everyone applauds. Everyone is, wow, it was great. And I'm like, oh, cool. And all I saw was little low res, like poorly taken clips from people's cell phones. And it's hard to get a feel for the whole presentation.
Yeah.
And then I got the whole thing and I put it in Opus, this great tool, and I got clips. And I'm like, wow, it's really good.
And you looked great too. You had the black sort of suit on, the ponytail, like it was
fun. Yeah, it was. I had like a black leather pants, the jacket. We're discussing charts. It was great. But I'm gonna post the whole thing on my website because everyone asked me where can I find the whole presentation. So I'm gonna post the whole thing. It's 18 minutes. Watch it. But I posted a clip today on a topic that really went viral off of Twitter this last week. It's the topic of migration patterns across the country.
The map was very helpful.
Yes. And that is something that I've been using now for a few years. And I update it as every year or however often we get new census data or IRS data. But it was something that I started introducing back right in the immediate aftermath of COVID. And it's on the point of identifying primary drivers of momentum. That's really the key. Because if you can identify what's pushing the market that you see in front of you, then you can identify sort of directionality. But you have to identify the prime forces because they build over time. They don't just reverse. And so one main thing that I recognized early on was that we have a tremendous migration of actual taxpayers underway. Yeah. And that's very important because taxpayers, they can move, they can develop, usually they have jobs that allow themselves to work on the internet and so forth. And a tiny percentage of people account for the vast majority of tax revenue in a given location.
Yeah, and I've talked this before in many podcasts that the COVID thing and the pandemic thing, it just let people who could move wherever they want.
Correct.
I would say the mainstream middle class, whatever, they weren't as affected by what you're talking about as the people in the upper tax brackets.
Correct. Exactly right. Exactly right. And so we have all these charts showing just arrows. In the talks, I juxtaposed two charts. I have one chart that has just simple arrows showing the directionality of the migrations out of California into these places, out of New York into these places. Yep. And it's very clear. And I juxtapose it right next to it. I put a picture of the marginal tax rates across states.
Okay.
And the pattern could not be more clear. And I made a tweet earlier this week with something that shows net increases in income by net as a result of domestic migration.
Yes.
Meaning which states gained income, which states lost income of people moving. And it's the same pattern. It's exactly the same pattern. Yeah. And so what I said was that it was blue states that were high lockdown. And I say this as a registered independent. I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, but the pattern is just so obvious. Like you just have to just look at it. It is what it is. And this got retweeted like crazy, that simple chart. And it was it. And then I had a segment because I discussed this at Rock the Market too. It's a theme that I've been discussing over and over because it's so powerful. As actual taxpayers migrate out of certain states, they're going to accelerate the gaps in those states' budgets.
Yes.
And that will lead to further, in my opinion, socialist policies that increase their hostilities towards capital. That's what we're seeing. Yeah. And so this is just early days of the country's transformation.
Yeah. I think it also goes with like, it relates to the development and the products that are happening here.
Yes, 100%.
Because you're still seeing projects launch and take off that are built for those tax brackets.
Correct.
And I think if there was any sort of slowdown, developers would not be launching those type of projects.
Correct.
Like they would be shifting to something else, to more local, but they're not. They're still focusing on the incoming from both the United States and around the world.
Correct. And then there was something in the news yesterday. Who's this developer? He built the Bellagio. They're doing a small boutique project, 25 units on the water in Miami Beach, starting at $5 million. And he actually said that it's not even for the Latin American audience. It's explicitly for the New York migration.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh, is that the Raleigh guy?
No.
I'm
blanking on his name right now. He built the Bellagio.
He built the Bellagio?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Is that Steve Wynn?
No.
Oh.
Il Bellagio, the condo.
Il Bellagio.
At 15th Street and Ocean Drive. Yeah.
Sounds like the Bellagio.
14th and Ocean Drive. That's right. No. Condominium.
Okay.
And it's a boutique project. They just announced it. They're in the paper today or yesterday, saying they're launching sales just now. And it's super boutique, starting at $4 or $5 million. And the developer said that it's past the price point at which he targets Latin American buyers, that it's explicitly made for the New York migration.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, we were talking about it last time, but 830 Brickell is set records for lease. And these are people who are coming from out of state or out of the country.
Right.
And when you have those people, you bring along people, executives and owners, whatever, that have the money to spend on those super boutique Ocean Drive condos.
Correct.
They're not interested in Casabella over here. They want the super exclusive luxury.
Correct, because you know what? Even though it's super exclusive and luxury and uber luxury on a historic basis for Miami,
Yeah.
on a global level, it is not expensive on a price per square foot.
Okay.
So we're drawing in the highest earners on a global ranking, but offering luxury products that are priced at a price per square foot that is below the same product they would get in other global cities.
I
It's a
get
deal still, is what I'm trying to say.
I get entertained by that, and I have to remind myself of that all the time because Miami, for all its upward trends in we're still so far below the rest of superstar cities and other
Right. Like,
places. It's very expensive, but it's not even close to some of the other places.
correct.
And
So
that's wild.
if we're looking at somebody who wants the best of the best wherever they live, and that is a certain buyer who wants,
Yes.
I can afford it, I want to live in the most exclusive, the nicest place wherever I happen to be. The nicest things that we're building here, even though they're, again, historically expensive for Miami,
Yep.
are still 2-3 times less
Yes.
on a per square foot basis than in other established global cities.
Yeah. And I think of that all the time because I live across the street here and I live in a luxury building per se, not like ultra luxury, but luxury.
Nice, yeah.
Nice. And I pay around $3,300 for 1,000 square feet. If that was in New York or San Francisco or anywhere
San
else,
Francisco's dropping down.
it's dropping. But in its heyday, that would be probably close to $10,000
Yeah.
for the neighborhood and the view and the amenities, and probably not the same amenities. But
No,
like,
because it would probably be older.
yeah, be older.
Yeah.
But it's just that is always, I have to remind myself of that yes, it's a lot of money, but it's not anywhere near.
No, and neither is that top tier. Whoever's coming down who thinks that I need to live in the best possible product offered in this city, the best possible product here is still far less on a per square foot basis than the best possible product in
Yeah.
another global city. And
I think that gives us room for growth
yes,
because we still haven't hit the top of it.
no, we haven't.
Yeah.
So on this topic, one chart that I publish all the time that I feel that people still haven't quite appreciated the nuance of it. I'm so glad that this thing was retweeted about the maps. I've been talking about this map thing for years. Another thing I've been emphasizing is the disproportionate growth in sales past high prices per square foot.
Okay.
So past $2,000 and $1,000 a square foot, because that isolates for new prime product. And that's where the differentiation is in the pre and post COVID realities. Past 1,000, past 2,000 square foot, we are 5 to 10 times higher transaction volume wise than pre COVID.
Wow.
And that's that new product.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like we've been on this vendetta against this Newsweek article for 2 months.
Oh, the Daily Mail has one now too. Just the Daily Mail.
It's like
Condo
a
crisis.
it's like a whack-a-mole.
Yes. It's always broken telephone. The Daily Mail had an article that I'm sure it's a product of the broken telephone that started with Newsweek,
Yeah.
saying condo, biggest disaster since the crash or something. That was the headline of the Daily Mail. And I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, how is this even remotely true? Condo pricing for the month of July was an all-time high for the month of July.
Yeah.
Up year over year, so flat, 1.5%, whatever it was. But okay, that's not a disaster. Inventory is still over 30% below where it was pre-COVID, even though it is up year over year. We have heavy cash involved in the market. Where is the disaster? So older inventory, of course, is in trouble. We've discussed
Yes.
this because of they have to now have reserves. That law is coming into effect. But this is not a disaster. The biggest disaster since. I'm like, what are they talking about? It's just not true.
Yeah, I know. I keep seeing it over and over again. I'm just like, it's like they see an idea, like a glimmer of an idea, and they like expand on that idea, even though it's almost like how AI works. It's like a hallucination. They're like, okay, here's an idea of it. We're not quite sure of all the facts and data, but we'll just hallucinate the generalized
Right.
part of it.
And they have no data. They use anecdotal pieces. Oh, this particular listing has been decreased. In any market, you're going to find problematic properties and big decrease. Okay, great. You found one.
Yeah.
But they never showed general market statistics. Ever. The whole article didn't have one general market data point. Not one. Yeah. It's great.
Wow.
I know. Makes you wonder what else press misreports on, but I won't go there.
Yeah. I was speaking of the older condos. I sent you the story yesterday about how the legislation is not going to call a special session.
Yeah.
Because everyone thought they were going to call a special session
And save them
and
somehow.
save them. And I don't know. I knew that wasn't going to happen. Florida, as from my 8 years of experience here, they don't do that. They're not the type of state that's going to. They don't go out of their way to do that sort of special session thing,
Right.
as far as I can tell.
Right.
And it seemed like all of the people were waiting for them to do that and save them with a thing. And I'm like,
No,
it's not going to
it's
happen.
not going to happen.
And so now people are really panicking
Correct.
because now they have until December 31st
Correct.
to have their ducks in a row. And I think I've been saying this. So I think in January, we are going to see a massive crush of older inventory.
Yep.
On the market. Just
Yep.
massive. People are going to have to sell.
Yep. Correct.
You know what I was thinking of this yesterday. If I was a financial banking person, I would be right now thinking about a new financial product for these condos. I don't know what it would be. I have no experience in that, but I would be thinking, because there's going to be so many of them,
Yeah, I know.
that it's not going to be, they're not all going to be able to get to the traditional bank loan for it. So if I was a bank,
You mean for the individuals who have to pay?
or something,
Right.
or it's like a non-traditional way of doing it, because I don't think they're going to be able to sustain.
No, and honestly, I don't really see what their salvation is, because it's going to be a Band-Aid. These buildings are going to require, it's like boats. It's going to be throwing good money after bad for decades.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the answer is, but the lady, whoever was the legislation lady, whoever was doing it there, she had a good point. She's like, it's not our job to fix these buildings.
It is not.
And it's our job to make sure that they get fixed. It's not our job to fix them.
Correct.
That was like her sort of.
It's their job to prevent another disaster.
Yes, like that's what she was saying.
But we can't actually do it for you.
Yeah, and and I feel from these people, but some of these people got put over a barrel by their HOA, their board.
Correct.
These people put off maintenance for 20 years or more.
That's right.
That they willingly either turned a blind eye to,
right,
or just were like, we'll do it later.
Right. Exactly. And now what?
So now it's like you can only kick the can down the road so far.
Correct.
And then you hit a wall.
Correct.
And the problem is all these cans are getting kicked down the road are hitting a wall at the same time. So I'm not sure. The reporting is going to be very interesting in January. If I had an older condo right now, I don't, but if I did, I'd be doing two things. I'd either be figuring out the finances to get whatever assessment coming up that I had to do. I'd be getting my ducks in a row for that. I'd be figuring out how to sell at losing the least amount of money.
Mhm.
Like I would be selling now,
Ouch.
or I would be being proactive and working with the board and other owners to figure out if there's a redevelopment in play. Those are the three things you can do right now.
That's it.
There's not really a fourth option,
Nope.
unfortunately.
Nope.
I don't know. Oh, speaking of old condo buildings, I was scootering around Edgewater, and as I do, and there's a lot of new equipment at Biscayne 21.
I saw you posted.
And I was like, Two Roads must have some details.
There's some progress there with that lawsuit.
Yeah, I think they might have heard like through the grapevine that they're going to get a favorable ruling, because there's a lot. They brought in all of the, when they do the demolition on the water, they have to do like the cofferdam
right
around it to keep the stuff out. And so they brought in all the metal cofferdam pieces.
They got some use. They wouldn't do that for nothing.
Yeah. And honestly, Two Roads is still selling at their sales gallery right there. So I don't, once again, it goes back to, I'll say this. I'm always a person who like picks battles. Always have been. If I was an owner at Biscayne 21, my battle would be how much money I'm going to get out of it. Not trying to hold off the whole project.
No, it's done.
It's done, but how much money am I going to get out of it? You know how they in the movies, they like write it on a piece of paper and like slide it across the table? That's what I'd be doing. I'd be like, here, $3 million, whatever. I'll go away. And we'll withdraw the suit.
Hopefully there's no lunatic involved.
Oh, I think
there's always a lunatic.
Well, there was that lady who said she was moving back in.
She wants to move back in.
Move back in.
Into what?
Into a shell.
The last lady who sold at the Monad Terrace site in South Beach, she held out. Monad Terrace was built on, was it 13th and West Avenue?
Yeah.
And before it was built, that's a JDS project that was delivered before COVID. Anyway, but before that building was built at that site, there were 2 rows of houses that were built in the 1950s.
Okay.
And it was maybe like 12 houses total, 6, 2 rows, something like that. Something like that. And they all had to sell because they wanted to develop that site.
Yeah.
There was one lady who was a holdout, and she had not even the waterfront too. She was like in the middle of the piece of land.
Yeah.
And I think that the cheapest sales were like 900,000 to like something. This lady got millions for her house because she was in the middle of the lot. And she was like, whatever, Michael Stern, I'm not selling. I think she got like 7 to 9 million. I forgot. I mean, it was a lot, like 10 times more than the first person who sold.
grandma's a
Good, she
baller.
was old lady. Good for her. Take his money.
But it's exactly that. It's okay. It's the same exact thing with that guy in Coral Gables with the plaza.
Yes.
Same thing.
They built around him.
They did. But it's I get the human nature of it. I understand that it's mine. My parents get whatever. I lived here my entire life. But at some point, you have to move on from. I don't know. I'm not sure what causes people to be that stuck in the sand. There's always a price. There's always a thing that will make people go, okay, I'm going to move.
One would think.
One would think. And then when you die, whoever's left is just going to sell it
They're gonna
anyways.
sell it anyway. Nobody wants it.
Yeah.
I know.
So
People,
it's
human nature is a funny thing.
yeah, it was interesting. Speaking of the scooters around I did, it's interesting even with this post-COVID high interest rates, tough development, there are still things popping off in Miami, at least in the greater downtown area. And it's interesting to watch because I think I wasn't into real estate for the last recession, or even whatever we had in like the mini ones we've had in between. The things are still like moving here. If you watch construction sites, you can almost see it. You can see like when they run into issues. At least I can. I mean, maybe it's because I'm like partly autistic. I don't know. But on the spectrum, but I can tell the moment.
Lofty, what's happening there?
Yeah, I can always tell them the moment they run into troubles. And every construction site that I monitor around Miami is full bore.
Yep.
Full bore.
Yep.
Even from big to small. I took a picture yesterday of Hamilton House by Amco up in North Edgewater. They have their construction stuff there. They're doing it. They did chop it in half though. They're only going 38 stories. They made it a short king.
Okay.
They took it from 6 foot to 5'7". Wouldn't work for Anna, but
Aladdin, tall and I were here. Sorry. Make sure jokes here now.
But anyways, yeah. So, but they're building it, and there's so many projects. Casa, whatever it's called now, Forma is about to open, and they're starting work on the Whole Foods that goes with it. And I know that Forma is, I think, like a 2 or 3 tower project eventually. So there's gonna be more there. Yeah, I was rode around Edgewater this week and Brickell, and everything is just it's going.
It is.
It doesn't feel. I don't feel the slowdown. I don't feel any slowdown.
You feel like the energy's moving. It looks like,
yeah. It feels like it's moving. Everything from the Dolce & Gabbana building that's coming up to.
What had gone vertical? You posted something. Was it?
Oh, Waldorf Astoria.
That's right. Waldorf Astoria.
That is wow. This is crazy. We have the Waldorf Astoria and Ocon going vertical at the same time.
That's right.
And also Mercedes-Benz Places.
Correct.
All 3 of those are out of the ground and vertical.
Amazing.
That is something.
It is. It really is. That was like from the window when I took that video, and I was like, Ryan, how many units are in the snapshot?
Yeah.
It was like thousands.
Yeah, close to 3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a very small area. But listen, Miami, we launch and build projects every day. It's what we do. But we have 2 or 3 super talls coming out of the ground at the same time.
It's pretty awesome.
That's impressive.
That is impressive.
And they're all in their various areas. They're all going to be skyline defining things.
Correct. Transformative projects.
Yeah, they're not like a mellow project. It's just a box. They're all like
transformative.
Yeah, they're all something.
They're all part of the evolution of the.
Yeah. I will say though, the Waldorf Astoria is going to look funny for a couple of years. It's 1,049 feet tall, and the closest thing around it's like 700. So it's going to be like it's like a middle finger, like just on the.
It's kind of awesome.
It's going to be cool. It's just going to be like by itself for a minute
with some sick views.
Yeah, with some really. Yeah, that you know what that. Listen, I like tall. I'm perfectly fine at my 30. Floors.
I'm on a 30 fan.
Yeah, like I would be.
I like being super high.
I do. I'm not trying to want to live up there all the time.
Oh, I could.
Really?
I love it.
Really?
The higher, the better.
I
get a kick out of it.
For me, I want to be a little bit connected to the street view. A little bit. I just want to have a little. Yeah. I want to see the drama that's happening down there.
I understand.
If I was on the 60th floor, yes, sure, fine. But I think there's a diminishing whatever.
Yeah,
returns
sure.
as you
Once you're super high, you're super high. You can't feel the street anyway, and you're just high.
Yeah. And also, when you're that high, if you're that high in Miami, you basically you're seeing the horizon.
Correct.
Because there's not many buildings that are.
Correct. You can watch the other ones pop up around you.
Yeah. Yeah. You were at Gale. That's where you took that photo of
That's
for
right.
the
That was
video.
from the 37th floor of the Gale residences facing, where was I facing? I was facing
West.
west, no sense
West.
of direction. And I was like, oh, look, it's the Crosby, it's OCAD, the
Um,
Aria Groups, the Mellow Groups, Twin Tower rental
yes.
project. And then what else was in that picture? It was a lot.
What's there is Ocon there at Downtown 6. It's going to be coming out of the
That's
ground.
right.
Crosby, Miami World Center 600.
600, correct.
And then just off to the left would be 501 first.
Correct. And then,
What if it's down a
yeah.
ways? Also, in that generalized area, you have the hub residences across the street from where Publix is
Right,
there.
right.
I was by there. And so there's two projects right now that I'm really wow, because where the hub residence is going, that was a project they started, I think, in 2006.
Really?
The
The
wreckage
right,
that was
right, right, right.
there. It started in like 2006, I think, and it was gonna be like an office tower called like Crystal Tower or something, and it died, I think, right during the recession, and it literally sat there from 2008 to
Wow.
now. But it's demolished. The land is clear, and I was like, it gave me a little bit of like tinglies. Well, okay, whoa, this is like actually, because there's certain plots of land in Miami that I've seen empty or blighted for so long, and they just sort of register in my head as always that. And when something happens, I'm like, whoa,
Whoa.
this
It's
is
happening.
it's happening. Also with Mast and Cipriani,
Mhm.
that I made a joke. That land has been excavated 3 times no, this is the 3rd time it'll be excavated for potential project. They've excavated
Oh,
it.
that's right.
They've
Yes.
excavated it and filled it in twice.
Third time's the charm.
It's like an Indian burial ground.
Didn't say they might find artifacts. Don't say that.
No, like in
No,
Poltergeist. Because at one point you could go over there and there was like 3 failed signs of projects from that lot. And then I was there and they dug it out and they're doing the pilings for Cipriani and Cipriani?
Mhm.
Cipriani. It was just like, wow, this is actually happening.
It's awesome.
And then also right over there on Brickell that land is clear now. Also down the road where the St. Regis is going, that tower is halfway demolished. I think the whole point of it is there's velocity and momentum in a way that I don't think is happening anywhere else.
No, I can't think of where else.
Yeah. I mean, that map from a couple episodes ago, where it was like, there's 90 high rises under construction in Miami and like 30 on the entire West Coast.
Correct.
So,
Ouch.
yeah. But like I said, there's stuff happening here. I'm excited about it. And even beyond high rises and luxury products, there are dozens of projects in Wynwood alone, rental
really
projects
nice ones, yeah.
that are coming online in the next 6 months to a year.
Correct.
Like just so many of them.
Correct.
So I don't know. I'm excited about it. I think as long as the country doesn't completely fall apart,
Which might actually help us.
we'll just
Not to be totally morbid about it, but to find totally falling apart. It's honestly, this is why I'm not even so attached to presidential elections, because they're a manifestation of where we are in the cycle. They're just a reflection of internal disorder at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit agnostic. It's going how it's going. And so
Yeah.
the country's just going to keep polarized regardless of who's elected. And that polarization is going to keep feeding our market.
I think I love sci-fi and dystopian movies. I love it. Sorry. And I think if we ended up in a dystopia and the United States collapsed, just whatever, I think Miami would not secede because the country's already gone, but like whatever, it would like be its own thing. It would become the actual capital of Latin America.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's so ingrained. It's so close to the Caribbean and Latin America. I think it would just become sort of its own, like a Florida. It was like
Singapore.
Yeah, like
a whole standalone banking center.
Yeah, exactly.
For Latin America.
Yeah. Speaking of that, the maps, I saw a meme on Facebook yesterday about, the movie The Hunger Games. It divided the United States into Hunger Games districts. And we were District 4, I think. And it included the whole South and then Florida and Texas. And I was like, the rest of the country's screwed. Can you imagine putting Florida and Texas together in the Hunger Games sort of style?
Fantastic.
And also you get New Orleans with the Cajuns and all that. Oh, speaking of Cajuns, totally random ADD moment. I was watching whatever. I put on the background Princess and the Frog from Disney at the base in New Orleans. And it totally triggered me because I was like, I love New Orleans food, Cajun and Creole. I'm like, it doesn't exist. Popeyes does not count.
Here, you mean?
Anywhere. I didn't find it on the West Coast.
That's true. You're right.
I didn't really find it in the Northeast when I lived there. I've never lived in New Orleans or the Deep South, but I was like, I love the food, but you just can't find it anywhere.
Correct.
And no one has, you have, if you want American Northeast food, you have Boston Market. You have, like, California has their coastal grills and whatever. Like, New Orleans has not successfully exported their style of food to the rest
That's
of
a
the
good
country.
point. I think people would like it.
Yeah, and you can find Creole food, but it tends to be in like really high-end French fusion places that cost like $300
Right.
for 2 people.
Right.
There's nothing like I
That's a
don't know.
good point.
Anyways, if someone wants to do a franchise for that, could be
Miami restaurateurs.
yeah, that could be a good idea. Oh, that new place that I posted about yesterday, it's called Bloom.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I saw it, and it seems like a little like smaller version of Julian Henry's. It's right on Biscayne. It's in, what is that building? I don't even know. 100 Biscayne, I think. But it looks like there's 3 or 4 different concepts inside it, and you can go there to sushi.
I
And
saw that. That looks cool.
yeah, we'll have to go
We'll have to
sometime.
go.
Yeah.
Have some calories before I have to
Yeah.
compete again.
Anna and calories, what?
I have to get weighed, okay?
Really?
Yes, we have to make weight for competitions.
When's your next competition?
Pan American Championships, beginning of November.
Where's that?
I don't know. I forgot. Not here. Vegas or California.
Nice. And you have to gain weight for that?
No, no.
I don't know how these things work.
You never want to weigh more because you want to weigh less. You always want to weigh less, almost
Okay.
always, unless you're heavyweight.
Is that why everyone's like always like weighing in like naked almost?
Yes.
Okay.
And for MMA, they cut a lot of weight for MMA.
Okay.
Jiu-jitsu, not so much. You don't cut a lot of weight, but still, you want to make sure you want to make sure you're at the top of your weight class, not at the bottom of your weight class. You want to just make it rather than just miss it.
Okay.
And you get disqualified if you miss it, but also just you want to be like at the top of the weight class.
It feels like The Biggest Loser a little bit.
Kind of, yeah. And the one in November is IBJJF, so it's same day weigh-in, so you can't weigh in the day before and then rehydrate. So you have to wake up and be that weight.
I wouldn't do well with that.
You have to get weighed in a half hour before your first match. You can't cut weight or you'll be starving. You cut a little bit of weight. So you have to be on weight's my point. So no more calories for me.
Oh boy. Oh, some exciting.
But one of my friends just had a nice win. Shout out to my friend Jorzinho Rosenstrike. He just fought in Australia
Okay.
and he won.
Okay.
Because he's a UFC heavyweight, so he doesn't have to make weight. Heavyweights are the only people who don't suffer in combat sports. They can just weigh in and that's it. 220 and above. That's it. I think for a title fight in the UFC, it's a 265 max. But he has to be under 265, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so he won his fight there. He's back in the top 10 heavyweight rankings. Exciting stuff. Congratulations. Shout out.
Nice. Some random but exciting news. I am going to work with a company here in Miami that's called OnX.
Mhm.
We're going there.
Oh, that's right.
On the 28th. They are a company that does very high-end single-family homes, but they are prefabricated in a factory.
Mhm.
And what I've learned, because I have to research them a little bit, is they never build the same home twice. So they're all unique.
Mhm.
And so they're Lennar or
Mhm.
D.R. Horton, but they build them like prefabricated.
Where did they build these homes?
They build them in Homestead.
Yeah, Homestead is popping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when we go there, we're actually going to go to the factory and then we're going to go tour some of the homes.
Oh, so exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting.
What's the price point for the homes?
The ones that I've seen are 500,000 and up.
Oh.
And I think they're able to do it because it's prefabricated.
Right.
So it's like a much easier process.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't have to hire like a subcontractor to do X, Y, and Z. That's all just
That's
comes with it.
awesome.
So yeah, it's exciting. It's one of my first sponsorships. So
Super cool.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
we'll check it out.
Yeah. And it's good you're a realtor because they apparently are launching like a new realtor app for it. So
Cool.
you'll
We'll check it out.
get to see that.
Awesome.
Any projects that you are keeping your eye on recently?
No, just there's so much. It's hard to even see what.
Question I've never asked you. If you knowing the projects that are available in Miami today, and if you were shopping for one for Anna, what would you buy? Where would you buy? It's not advice for people. I'm just saying where
Good
would
question.
Anna?
So a lot of our pre-construction pipeline is a short-term rental product.
Okay.
So I would be tempted to buy not short-term rental product.
Okay.
Because the not short-term rental product is functioning as house replacement.
Yeah.
And we can't build more single family, and we can't build more inventory, rather. You can tear down old stuff and build new and expensive, but there's a finite supply. So if we believe the thesis that people will keep coming in to work for companies, people are bringing their families, we're going to need more inventory that replaces single family.
Okay.
And people don't want to live in condo hotels with their kids.
Yes.
And so any product that is within, again, proximity to the urban core that delivers larger floor plans and is not a condo hotel, that's where I would be looking.
Okay. For me, I have two things. If money was just no object and I would probably buy at the Waldorf Astoria.
Mhm.
just because it'd be amazing. If I had a little bit more realistic expectations, I really like Mello's Aria Reserve.
Mhm.
It's going to be a really nice project. The amenities are going to be fabulous. And it's still close enough to the downtown core that you can still get to transit if you
Mhm.
wanted to. But yeah, it's going to be beautiful. The first tower is topped off and they're doing the finishings. And then the second tower is out of the ground now. I'm excited about that. I think it would be Waldorf, My Name is No Object, and then Aria if I had slightly more
Do you know
reasonable.
which project also makes a lot of sense for me, again, on this topic of not condo hotel and primarily situated, take advantage of the business sector? Is it the St. Regis Brickell?
Oh, yes.
Yep. So St. Regis Brickell is that waterfront parcel there.
Hmm.
It's 7 or 10 minutes away from 830 Brickell and all those office buildings coming there and with Citadel and everybody else. It's like 4 units per floor, larger floor plates.
Yeah.
It's like that product, and it's primarily situated to house executives and their families that will be working in all those office buildings.
I wonder how sales are going there. I haven't heard
They're
anything.
breaking ground.
Okay.
So they had that beautiful sales center. It was like a multi-million-dollar building. I saw it a few weeks before they tore it down. It was really nice. It was sad. So you guys are going to tear all this down. That's so sad. They have to tear it down to build. I think they're at almost 60%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that with that project, they originally they had two towers and they went down to one, but made the units much bigger.
Correct. Yeah. So it's that thesis. It's larger floor plans. It's standard. It's not a condo hotel. And they're explicitly targeting the families of executives and so forth that are coming in. And it's like right there. You can look on the map. It's right there next to all the office buildings that are coming. The comparable, perhaps, is at Una, which is further
Yeah.
south, but Una's further away.
Yeah.
It's not as amenitized, we'll call it.
Yeah.
This has the full St. Regis amenity package without being a hotel. It has a marina in the front, which is very scarce by right. They haven't figured out how many slips they're going to build, but there's going to be one there. It's
Yeah.
just, it's super prime. It's like a single family replacement in the heart of Brickell.
Yeah.
I
And
like-
the lot is huge.
Yep.
I was scootering there and they're only building one tower. The whole rest of the lot's going to be gardens or
Yep.
whatever
It's
they
gonna be
want.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have a Michelin starred chef. I always blank on his name, operating a restaurant in the property just for the residents.
Wow.
Like the full Fellies. Like it's really nice, highly amenitized, full service, but not condo hotel.
Yeah. Speaking of theses, that sort of goes to my thesis with South Brickell, that whole area. I'm working on the content for it. I'm lazy. I need to get on it. But that whole strip, there's so many old buildings that
Right.
from the Ghost of Surfside are not going to make it another 20 years.
Yep.
And they're these huge, deep lots with protected water views forever. And they're 10 minutes from downtown Brickell.
Correct.
It just, the math means that the buildings that are there are not going to be there for much longer.
No, agree.
And I'm going to try and I'm going to do a sort of an Anna style report, but
Oh, exciting.
but with I don't know. I'm very visual, so I'm going to figure out how to make some content. But anyways, there's just so many old buildings that are prime targets, huge lots that I think developers are going to be licking their chops
Agree.
for.
Agree. Yep.
And also interesting, I think it's in November. There's going to be some interesting things on the ballot. I think we talked about this before, but there's going to be 2 items on the ballot for Watson Island.
Mhm.
One by the My World Center developers, and the other by, I don't know, whoever owns Jungle Island now. I think it's someone in Aventura. But they're going to put it to the city voters to say, we're going to build some small condos there, smallish, and then the rest will be like a park or
Mhm.
public space, which I think is great. I've never actually been to Jungle Island.
Oh no, I have twice for
Okay.
conference.
Okay. But I never actually
Yeah.
been to the park.
Me neither. Not to the park. Yeah.
I've been to the little restaurant thing they have there,
Mhm.
that Joya Beach, whatever. But,
Yes, I've been there.
but it's not. Watson Island is something you just go through. Like, it's not. So I would love it if they had some open space, some program space. I think it'd be
Agree.
highly worth it. So
Agree.
if I would suggest totally yes in that, because the city itself has had 80 years to do something with it. And what did we get? We got the Children's Museum and Joya Beach. The Children's Museum is great. That would stay there and that's fine. But that's it.
Agree. Agree.
Do something
Do
with it.
something with it. Yeah. Not
Yeah.
just expensive brunch.
That's one of my pet peeves in Miami a lot of times is I understand as much as I can how developers work and land banking, and I understand the complications. Like where I live, there's a plot of land directly to my north that's massive. It's on, what's over there? 17th Street, right before the graveyard. And it's a giant piece of land. It has to be 20 acres and just totally empty. It's owned by the same family that owned the Doaville.
The Morellos.
Yes. And
Problematic, you know.
yes, they're problematic.
Mhm.
They let the Doaville be demolished by neglect.
They've done that before with properties.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's a good example. But I see this land and I'm just like, put something on it. I don't care if you're going to develop it now, but a farmer's market or some sort of covered land play. It's like, I don't understand that part of it. Like, I understand financing and lining everything up and all that, but there's always something you can do in the meantime.
Agree.
That's how I feel about it. Look at in Wynwood, they do the smorgasbord every weekend to
Oh,
the,
yeah. Yeah.
it's great. I've been there.
Mhm.
People love it. It
Mhm.
activates it. Like when you have empty lots like that, you kill engagement and pedestrianism around it because people don't want to walk city blocks
It
or just,
becomes blighted.
yes. So anyways, I could rant a lot. There's a lot of plots like that in Miami, but I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad thing because it means we have room to grow, but also it means that we just have land. It's just do something with it.
Agree. Well, we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, overall, I'm excited. I'm excited to go on our little field trip on the
We'll see it.
28th. The company is called OnX, like ONX.
Mhm.
And they're working with some creators and influencers. And I was like, you want to work with me?
That's I
I was like, thank you. But yeah, we'll make some content with that and we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
cool.
awesome. Guys, thank
All
you.
right, everyone. Thank you. Look at the new setup. I'm digging it.
Yes, I'm always changing this. We can still do the tables
I
and
like this.
yeah, it's easier for like eye
It's
contact.
cozier.
Yeah,
We can show outfits
and leg.
and leg and the heels. Oops, sorry. I just kicked.
As
some
she
shit.
stabbed, she stabs
I
her.
just tapped out. I just tapped right with my heels.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You know, there's Anna. There's people who might actually like
There are
that.
people who might pay for that. That's a whole separate topic. And on that note,
On that note, thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.